you know that we have forgotten history? This is the second video. The first one, in my previous video, Asian Turks, or a society that lived in Asia, I explained that as a result of the change in climate, they spread around the world and drew their own stamps and symbols wherever they went. In this video, I want to talk about the migration of the Asian Turks to the south. These people who went south, I would like to make a statement in front of a map, as you can see here. First, it starts from Turkmenistan, and there Gonur, Altin Tepe, Tepe Sial, Jiroft, Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro. They established many centers like Tepe Yahya, and they settled there. They also left cultural artifacts there, their own culture. One of the most important ones, is Altin Tepe. If you look at Altin Tepe, these people who settled in Altin Tepe and the surrounding areas, they carried their culture there. The main symbol of their culture was a mountain goat, but as they came down here, the mountain goat was replaced by a different animal, and that is the bull. The bull, as you know, is a symbol of power, and in every society, the bull was defined as power. It has been the symbol of power. From this point of view, in this region, in Altin Tepe, they made the bull statue, or I won't call it a statue, but they made its head. And why did they make it? It is made of silver. But here is the interesting part. Why did they make it out of silver? Because silver is the first metal that people extracted from the earth, even before copper. And the silver artifacts that have been found date back to 5,000 or 6,000 years ago. So we see that this silver headdress is the head of a bull as a symbol of power. And on the head there is a sun or moon symbol. And as I mentioned before, these people attached great importance to the moon and the sun. From there they moved to the Tepe Siahat region. Tepe Siahat region is a rocky area in the central regions of today's Iran, and here they drew pictures on the rocks. They continued to draw the mountain goat here as they always did, which is the artifact of their culture. There are many earthenware pots that have been found in excavations there, and in these earthen pots we see the mountain goat drawings in the picture below. This means that they carried their beliefs and their culture, and the animals they considered important or sacred to them to these places. In other words, the people who formed the ancient culture of Iran were essentially pre-Turkic people who came from Asia, and these people then went south. When they went south, they reached the Indus Valley. The Indus Valley is a valley in today's Pakistan, and a stream passes through it, the Indus Stream. They established many centers on the banks of this stream. Here we see Harappa and other cities. For example, centers like Mohenjo-Daro were established here. There, in these cities, they carved and sculpted and created very important symbols for themselves. For example, there are seals made of marble or stone or earthen terracotta in the shape of a four-cornered square. Many of these seals have been found. I mean, not just 3 or 5, but hundreds of them were found in the same region. And because they were excavated, there are also letters and shapes on them. But are these shapes and letters? No, these were found to be 400. And because there are 400 of them do not actually constitute an alphabet. They reveal that it is a word script, because there are 400 words, and human beings speak in at least 400 words. As we can see, they drew the throat of that region called a Zebu, the Indus, Pakistan, and India here. And moreover, they put them in the form of seals. For example, in the seal you see on the left, there is a person with horns on his head, which we can call bull horns. He is sitting cross-legged and sitting on a table. So we see that this Asian culture extends here as well, and this leader with a bullhorn on his head is actually making a statement of power. He is trying to express that he is powerful. And these zebu were engraved and put on these small seals in different ways. As you can see on the far right, there are a few examples of stamps. Each of these is actually a word, but they are also stamps. And we know that these stamps are of Asian origin, because in Asia, stamp writing came first. After that stamp writing, word writing emerges. This means that they only developed the stamps and added words to these stamps as a vocabulary. And as a result of this definition, an accumulation of words, I won't say an alphabet of words, was formed. And within this accumulation, different forms emerged. Here we see a few examples. Then they drew a male zebu, which was found in the city of Harappa, which is the bull of that region, a bearded bull and a symbol of power. You can see it here. And on this one again, there are stamps from that region. Actually, this is a seal pressed on clay as a seal. The original one was facing inwards, but since this one is facing outwards, we understand here that the seal was pressed on a piece of clay and photographed. And this humped bull belongs only to that region. So this is a humped bull from India and Pakistan, and it has a very special place in that culture. When we look at this map again, you can see that these people were spread over a very large area. I mean, they spread across Pakistan, India, and Iran. And they went all the way down to Baluchistan, which is a province of Pakistan. Who were these people? I mean, we know that they were of Asian culture and Asian, but if you ask how they were identified in history, they were called Medes. So this is the region of the Medes, because the Medes were a society that dominated that region long before the Persians. Persians are known as the people who speak Indo-European language today. But the language spoken by the Medes is the Ural-Altaic of Asia. And it's very likely that, although we can't say for sure, I can say that the language spoken in Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, the cities of the Indus Valley, was a Ural-Altaic, and we can say that it is a Median language. And one of the features of this Median language is that it is agglutinative. So it is called agglutinant. Agglutinant language is the language developed with ornaments. All Asian languages, including Hungarian, Turkish, Mongolian, and Japanese, should be considered as members of this class, this family. And they did a lot of research on where the people of the Indus Valley came from. And they realized that they are not indigenous people. They were proved by genetic science that they came from another region. And it is now known that they probably landed there from Asia. Who argues this? A Pakistani linguist and archaeologist named Hassan Dani argues this. It happened between 9020 and 2009. This Hassan Dani is a person who has studied the Indus culture thoroughly, and there he says the following. In other words, he argues that the languages spoken in the Indus Valley are related to Altaic languages, that is, Asian languages, and also to Sumerian, because Hassan Dani was also a person who could speak 25 or 30 languages, who was highly intellectual, highly knowledgeable, and had a very deep culture. In this respect, we know and see that these people from northern Pakistan, India, and Asia spread, but their stamp is not only a mountain goat or a zebi. The mandala is also a symbol of Asian origin, and mandala means circle in Sanskrit. So basically, we have to think of it as a circle with a circle plus sign. So here, as you can see in this picture, on the left side, we see the Central Asian stamp of the Asian culture. And in this stamp, as I have explained before, the sun and the circumference represent the circle. The four directions and the ruler are also indicated as a plus sign in the center. So when we look at this, it is the same in Tibet and India. There are all kinds of shapes. These shapes are called mandala because they are circles. So here you see the Tibetan mandala in the center, and the Hindu mandala on the right. There is a big circle in both of them, and instead of a plus sign, there are four squares indicating the four directions, or a sign indicating the four directions as a protrusion, again in the center of the circle, and you can see this sign. It is quite possible and easy to understand how Asian this is and how much of an Asian culture it is. They are clearly expressing this to us, and I would like to talk about a psychologist who was interested in this subject, an Austrian psychologist, Carl Gustav Jung. Carl Gustav Jung called this circle with the plus sign an archetype. He said that the mandala is an archetype. He defended it, and according to Jung, archetypes are ancient symbols from the collective unconscious. So he defends the collective unconscious. He claims that there is such a thing. And this collective unconscious is a symbol that comes to us from thousands of years ago, passed down from generation to generation, which we can call subconscious or unconscious. Here in this picture, we see both Jung and the circle containing this archetype, the plus sign. Jung calls it a mandala. Of course, it is natural for Jung to call it a mandala because he was interested in Sanskrit culture. But for us, this is an ancient symbol of Central Asia. And I don't think there's any doubt about that. Then they moved on to the Sumer. In other words, they created a culture in Hindus, and from there they moved to Sumele. And I would like to tell you about one or two tablets related to Sumele. You can see one of these tablets in the picture here. There is a mountain goat on this tablet, there's the sun and the plus sign, and even if it's not a circle, there's in something covering the perimeter of the garbage can. Then there's the double-headed eagle and the tree of life. And standing in the middle is Enki. Enki, as you know, the Sumerian god of water. He was also called Ea. So there are rays coming down from the sky and in the form of water. We see here how much importance they attach to both the sun and water. There is also the tree of life. It's the tree of life which Ea or Enki. There are waters from the bottom of his skirt, almost reaching out to that tree of life. So they are watering life, giving life strength, creating life. And on either side we see two mountain goats coming down from the sky. As you know, Mesopotamia is a flat area, but there were mountain goats there, or even if there weren't, the people there drew these mountain goats as an archetype. And the double-headed eagle is not the work of Russia or any other culture as it is believed. It is a symbol of Sumerian and Turkish origin. In the Sumerian tablet, I am showing you another tablet of Asian origin, which also contains a plus sign in a circle. These two tablets, which I have surrounded in green, have a circle in the two corners, on both sides, and a plus sign in the middle. This means that this pictograph of the Sumerian culture contains the same stamp of Central Asian origin. This means that they are the continuation of the people from Asia, the continuation of the people who came from Asia. That the Sumerian culture was a pictograph, we have to accept it, because in all the tablets, in the earliest tablets, there are more pictures and no writing. And since this is a pictographic script, the shapes and pictures are words. Therefore, we can say, as a continuation, that just as logographic word writing exists in India, Pakistan, and the Indus Valley, in the same way there is a continuation in Sumer. At the beginning of Sumer, 3,000 years ago, in the tablets, we see that there was pictographic writing before cuneiform. This is how we should express the change in Sumerian writing. This is how we see how it changed from 3100 BC to 1000 BC, that is, for 2100 years. For example, I am showing 4 examples, a picture of a head. At first, head is a certain word as a very beautiful pictograph. You see how this word has changed over time, over 2100 years. In the simplest 1000 years, BC, completely transformed into a cuneiform script. Likewise, we see that leg, water, and bird have also transformed over time into cuneiform. which is much more difficult and specialized to read. In conclusion, it is possible to say the following. The stamps of Central Asian culture were drawn, preserved, and defended in different places by people migrating from Central Asia. For example, if we find these stamps in Tibet, Pakistan, India, Sumer, and Mesopotamia, we have to accept that these were people of Asian origin. In addition, we also understand and see that their belief system is also a religious system related to the sun god, the sky god, and a great pantheon, that is, other gods that develop around the sun god. Thank you very much.